Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch in Holy Toledo. Right now, as we speak, Microsoft and Meta are absolutely surging in the overnight hours due to their earnings report. On top of that, we see futures that are also climbing rapidly. Palantir is climbing back up to its all-time highs currently. We'll be talking about this in a few moments. Just after a few short days ago, you had a bunch of uncertainty that was thrown at Palantir, trying to cause a little bit of a sell-off here, but you're seeing this dip that is being bought back, especially quick. And the question is, in terms of where the market's sitting at, it's at this very interesting, juicy spot because we're anticipating, a lot of investors are starting to anticipate, when are we going to see this kind of 5 to 6% pullback in the S&P due to just weaker trading volumes and the cool-off periods, what we've seen historically in August. However, come market open tomorrow, what kind of a reaction are we going to have to the earnings and what we're seeing in terms of the AI revolution? So hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and let's pop it up on the screen. What you see here, Palantir closes up on the day about $1.5% at $158. Where it currently trades at right now in the overnight session is at $159.64. It's up about another dollar in the overnight session. What you did have Palantir, remember, coming down here to about $155 a few days ago. And this was after some uncertainty was kind of thrown at after we saw the reports that the government, the Department of Defense right here, reported that federal agencies have recently been testing AI models from Microsoft for data analytics projects. OpenAI models were also being evaluated. The report said, we saw that the Department of Defense basically said, hey, they don't want to rely too much onto one specific entity, basically saying, hey, are we too reliant on Palantir, which shows you the competitive advantage that Palantir does have. Just due to this report here, you saw people starting to, get a little bit of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in Palantir, and that's why we saw a little bit of a pullback. But this is actually pretty bullish for me personally in terms of their competitive edge. And the Department of Defense, what we saw from the government basically saying they're going to try to test their own things regarding these AI solutions and what Palantir can do for the government to try to kind of bring down some of that reliancy. Shows you that they're probably pretty reliant on Palantir, and Palantir has been doing it for decades now, developing these products. So I don't know. I think a lot of people need Palantir, but they don't know. But interesting to see here. Earnings, talking about that. It's coming up here August 4th. We'll be talking about that. Palantir is currently priced for perfection. Like I said, any type of reports, what you're seeing uncertainty right here, you're seeing flips, any type of negative or even in line, not as, enthusiastic in terms of expectations in terms of this earnings reports. That's where you can see Palantir cooling off a little bit. It's been on an incredible run. If it does cool off, I think that is completely okay for Palantir. People down in the comments will start probably calling me this perma Palantir bull, but hey, it has any type of chance to pull back here. Earnings definitely could cause that. We'll see what happens at that market highs. But at 160 climbing back here, I think it's just kind of funny overall. Talking about the market, this right here is when we had the Fed rate decision, holding rates steady. It's basically what the market expected, and then what Powell kind of was talking about on his outlook for kind of the remainder of the year, especially with September in terms of the potential for rate cuts. That's where you saw the SPY drop here to 632. All of a sudden in the overnight hours. And if you look at these articles on, CNBC talking about the S&P 500 closes lower, right now, SPY's up at 640 as we speak. We're seeing Meta up over $84 in the overnight hours, and Microsoft up over $44 in the overnight session. You're seeing this optimism and the amount of resiliency that the market has in terms of its correlation with the AI boom. And currently, the S&P 500 closing right here, showing signs. It actually did start showing signs of resistance at that 6,400, and possibly, this pullback here into the 63s. Could this close lower? It'll be interesting to see what happens with the market open, but I think we definitely are going to have a testing at that 6,400 and possibly an opportunity to go past that. And that's where, hey, is there still another rally, another momentum push for the S&P, for the broader market, before we do see some type of a cooling off period? I mean, I don't know. Or is the AI revolution and what we're seeing in terms of the AI boom and how much these companies want to get involved with AI, will that prevent the August dip or make it be not as severe if there is one to come? Well, regarding this article right here, we do see Jerome Powell. He basically signaled that the central bank isn't ready to cut rates. We do know with with the political tensions, we know Trump, the administration, has been heavily pushing for the Fed to cut rates. Basically talking about here, Powell, though, is assessing the impact of Trump higher tariffs on the inflation picture. I mean, he doesn't want to cut rates. You have a Trump. I don't know if they have the best relations. We saw when Trump, met with him at the Federal Reserve, very awkward type of relationship, type of conversation. And you also have Fed governors right here dissenting because both were in favor of a quarter point cut. So he's not buckling up here to the political pressure that we've seen. So is he kind of a sitting duck here in this position? Where are we just going to be waiting for the next Fed chair to come in? That's probably going to be more in agreement with Trump in terms of cutting those rates. So will the market maybe start to price this in, start to expect this? But what you see right here is we saw this dip that was quickly bought back up at 632. So these dips that we're seeing in the broader market, I'm not seeing. Yes, we're seeing some signs of some market toppiness, but this pullback that we were starting to maybe get a little more of anticipation of, saw kind of through X. I think Meta and Microsoft literally just saved the market. On top of that, Robinhood too, also coming in with some great earnings. In terms of the Dow Jones, futures are rising here. Meta's soaring on earnings. In terms of what's actually happening, we're seeing quantum computing also popping up in the after hours right here, after Microsoft making some remarks on that, basically saying the next big accelerator in cloud will be quantum. So going through here, let's talk about Amit has this post about Robinhood Q2 earnings, up 45% year over year in revenues at 989 million, 42 cents earning per share, up 100% year over year, my God. And you see here assets, 279 billion, up 99%. Robinhood is on a mission, deposits plus 13 billion. These numbers are astronomical. The gold subscribers, we have their credit card. They're talking about banking that's going to be coming to the public here probably before we know it. Robinhood is on this journey and on this path that they are executing at a rapid pace. On top of that, if you come over here, looking at Meta, you got active people, ad impressions, revenue up 22% right here, beating it by 2.7 billion. Earnings per share was $1.24 beat, and capital expenditures right here, 66 to 72 billion. Meta doing absolutely crazy in terms of a $1.24 beat. This can show you why are we seeing an $84 push in Meta in the after hours right here at all-time highs at $780 per share when this was just around the $700 mark. So in terms of the Magnificent Seven stocks, they're at this very interesting competitive edge. Microsoft here at 558. This very interesting competitive edge right here. That basically they're playing all-time highs and they're playing with each other in terms of competition, trying to develop the best company that they can, bringing the best AI, the working on the best large language models. And now you're going to have Apple and you're also going to have Amazon tomorrow. So once these big companies start competing against each other, trying to be the leader into this new revolution, that is what keeps me bullish on the market in terms of the next 2 to 3 years. Hence, yes, a little bit of a pullback here. Personally, I'll be sitting on more liquidity to just purchase a dip because I don't see any signs personally of this AI revolution slowing down. Pulling back a little bit on leverage right now in terms of the short-term bullish side, just to not just be overexposed in case we do see any big flip. But right now, still having some of that leverage and exposure to take advantage of this market that still continues to climb. That's where I'm sitting right now personally. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. We'll be definitely keeping you guys up to date in terms of what we see tomorrow. earnings. We'll be reporting on Apple. It'll be really interesting to see what Apple has because they're kind of lagging. The general consensus is that they're kind of lagging behind a little bit in terms of AI innovation. So we'll see what happens there. Amazon, though, I think will be another big key player in the game. That's all what I have for you guys. Peace out. Take care. Thank you guys so much for watching and have a great night.